least walking the same route, and they look suspicious. Suspicious meaning a hat pulled down, a heavy jacket, and it was hot last night for Florida at this time of year. So one of my command staff fell back, and some of our SWAT guys fell back to try to just see what this individual was about. As soon as he saw them adjust positions to them, he stopped walking and tried to blend into the crowd and kind of ease out of there, at which point they engaged him in conversation and immediately realized that he was off, meaning he either was having a mental episode of some sort or he was on some kind of a narcotic, not alcohol, but some kind of a narcotic. As they were talking to him, they realized that he was dressed in multiple layers of clothing, long sleeve shirt, the jacket that I just mentioned, and then they could see some type of apparatus under him, which ended up being a rifle-rated bulletproof vest. And let me put that in context. Our deputies wear soft body armor. They're not rifle-rated body armor. This is legit rifle-rated body armor. It's a higher level than normal body armor. With that, he had a dagger tucked down in his pants, and he had a handgun on his hip. And they pulled him off to the side, actually detained him because of his behavior, and started questioning him. His answers were did not dispel our concerns. He said he was just walking that route to find his daughter somewhere in that mess, and so they brought him back to our office. Stuart Police Department was heavily involved in this case also. Of course, they were part of helping us secure that parade route. So they, our detectives, and the FBI actually, because we have a congressman that he was behind, came back to our office and spent several hours talking to him, going through. He allowed them to go through his device. He did not have any searches or anything of our congressmen or any of us for that matter. But again, this is a concerning case for us because it's kind of a trick bag. We were not able to arrest him last night because legally, technically, he's allowed to carry a firearm on that route. What he's not allowed to do though is be suspicious and follow along and be high while he's possessing a firearm. So our detectives are working on what we call a risk protection order to try to prohibit him from having a gun until he can get whatever's going on mentally or with controlled substances squared away. So at this time, we have the vest, we have the gun. He was released last night. We weren't able to arrest him. And we're just happy that all those resources, we needed them, but we didn't really need them last night. And let me talk about our resources. We spend a lot of time and money making sure these parades are safe. We want these kids, we're gonna have a parade here in a minute, we want these kids to enjoy looking at the Grinch and Santa Claus and getting the candy from us. But there's a lot of legwork that goes in on the backside of this. Our SWAT guys are out here. We're flying all the rooftops of any higher elevated perch. We have undercovers in the crowd. We have blockades to keep people from driving down the routes. We're living in a day and age where we have to be extremely careful. And last night, I'm appreciative to Congressman Mast staff and my staff for seeing something that wasn't right and taking action. Again, I am a Second Amendment advocate, but this individual's behavior, his dress, his behavior, what he was doing was so bizarre it prompted our action.
What does your gut tell you that he was doing? Anything nefarious?
We don't know. So extensive interviews, he talked. His story is that he had been an informant for us, the Martin County Sheriff's Office, which he had been, and had been getting death threats. Why you need that type of protection and why you'd even come out if you were that afraid is beyond us. I don't know. We don't know what was going to happen. It's hard for us to speculate. We just know it was extremely concerning. Again, across the nation, you see our congressmen, especially congressmen and women, threats on both sides of the aisle taking place, and we're not immune from violence here in Martin County. So again, I'm happy that our staff and our public was on it.
And if he hadn't, I mean, thankfully, obviously, he didn't use any sort of weapons or anything along those lines, but what would have elevated this to any sort of charges whatsoever, still without using any of those weapons?
If he was a convicted felon, if he already had a risk protection in order, if he had a domestic violence injunction in order, had he done anything overt? I mean, he was overt in the sense that he was suspicious, but he did not brandish that weapon in any kind of unlawful fashion. So any of those factors would have changed what happened last night and changed our response.
And you mentioned his behavior, and that was the reason you guys ended up detaining him. Describe that behavior, and then I think you also mentioned he was high, if you could clarify that as well.
Yes.
But describe his behavior.
His behavior is starting with his dress, overly dressed for that occasion, hat pulled down, walking discreetly or trying to walk discreetly in conjunction with us, and stayed on Congressman Mast's side of the road. Congressman Mast was on a motorcycle last night. He had heavy protection around him. We had SWAT guys that were around him. but this individual was keeping pace with us, and so much so that he was noticed. And then when our deputies tried to fall back and address him, he knew something was wrong because he stopped and tried to exit stage, but it was not going to happen.
And you mentioned he was an informant for you
Yes.
guys at one point. What does that mean? And so you guys were aware of who he was then?
We were not aware last night of who he was. They unraveled that when they went back to our office and started researching who he was and what he was about. At some point in previous years, not recently, he had provided information to our narcotics unit, and that's why he was saying he was out there dressed like he was. He was afraid of retaliation for that.
Was it determined to be under the influence? Did they do any kind of testing?
We didn't have a legal basis to determine that, but we did talk to his family members, and he has had a history of drug addiction and issues. And our detectives that work that case, we deal with people that are under the influence all the time. They said he was definitely off, was the word they used. Either it's a mental illness, or they mentioned specifically crystal methamphetamine, or a combination of the both, the two of them.
This had nothing to do with open carry, right? He was not open carry? Was
No.
it concealed?
No, and again, I'm sure there was other people on that parade route that were legally carrying firearms. We had no problem with that. It's just the suspicious behavior coupled with the vest, the dress, the trying to hide from our deputies when they tried to encounter him, or at least dispel their fears. He did nothing to dispel our fears. In fact, he ramped them up. So again, it goes back to how important it is for us to be on top of it with our security, clearing rooftops. Every penny that we spend on these parades is worth it if we keep people safe.
What's it like having to, when did this kind of pick up for you guys in your experience in law enforcement, which you've been in for a while now? Do you remember the time which you guys started to have to go to these extra lengths for these events?
It's progressively gotten worse, and I hate to say it that way, but as national events unfold, unfortunately, we're playing catch up in law enforcement. It started with active shooters, so we started putting SWAT guys out there. And keep in mind, we were coming out of that. We had a strong push back in the early 2000s of anti-militarization of the police, right? You would never have SWAT guys with long guns walking down the road, or we would get picked on by everybody, media included. But as we had active shooters, the public's like, hey, we want to be safe, so we set SWAT guys out there, and they appreciate it. And then you had cars that were running down traffic, running over people, so we started putting barriers out. And then you had active shooters from elevated positions, like we just saw this last year a couple times. So we have clearing roofs. So there's all these things that we're doing in order to keep the public safe in the background that nobody should see. We don't want them to have to see it, but it's something that we do to try to make sure that this is fun and safe and people enjoy Christmas.
And it should be.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
What is the safety message here to the public? It's Christmas season. These events are happening. I feel like every week right now, Christmas tree lightings, Christmas parades,
Right.
they're going to continue happening. What is the message when we're in large crowds? We talk about it all the time, but what would you say to families?
If you see something, say something. I know that's become cliche, but if you see something that's off, just let us vet it out. And we do that a lot. We'll probably do it here tonight. A lot of things we vet out. A deputy talks to somebody for 2 seconds. They can tell this is fine, this is legit. But if it's off, let us pull that person off to the side. Don't let it escalate to where we're trying to mitigate gunfire or something more nefarious. And our message to everybody is we're doing our best to keep you safe, but it's a collective effort. We'll do our part, and then you're the eyes and ears. You know who belongs and who doesn't belong.
Is there a fine line there of protecting people's constitutional rights that they're allowed to carry, even with open carry, and yet also at the same time they're in a public area that can make people feel uncomfortable? As law enforcement, how do you balance that?
It's an almost unwinnable proposition. Again, I am all about the Second Amendment. If people want to carry, I'm good with that. But responsible gun ownership is what we're about. Use your common sense. If you're going to come out to an event like this, be appropriate with it. People want to carry, I'm good with it. But use your brains, common sense. But legally, it really is a fine line between violating somebody's Second Amendment rights and protecting our public. In this case, we had enough to detain him, and we did the right thing.
Any message of just vigilance, just everybody being aware in these situations?
It's a different climate. 25 years ago, you never heard of an active shooter just to be an active shooter. I think Columbine really kind of kicked off that climate. You never know who's going to be here and why they're here and what they're going through mentally. Mental illness is a big thing. Drug addiction is a big thing, unfortunately. So everybody's got to pay attention and be vigilant. Again, we're doing our best to try to protect, and we got a lot of people out here, and we're going to continue to have a lot of people throughout the Christmas season. We're happy to do it. It costs a lot of money, but the money's worth every life and peace of mind. Peace of mind. We want people to be out here and relax and enjoy it and know that we're doing our part to keep you safe.
Were there any other federal agencies involved in this investigation?
The FBI came to our office last night. They have different databases that they can run people through. They were a part of that. Nothing came back on this individual other than what I told you. And but again, we're working through the process of filing a risk protection order, and then we will do some follow-up investigation with this individual, social media and all those things, to make sure that there's no issues there. Again, he did cooperate with us. We went through his phone, no Google searches, nothing that was in there that was politically motivated, nothing. So we don't know what he was doing out there, but we know that we weren't going to let him do anything while he was out there.
Are you able to say what type of gun he was
Yeah.
carrying?
Yeah, it was a Glock 9mm handgun, yes.
Something like you guys carry? Like a
Almost exactly like what I'm wearing currently, yes.
Did he have extra ammo, or he just had the one magazine?
He had the mag and the gun,
Okay.
yeah,
Did he have it chambered?
yes.
Is there any chance that if you guys had not stepped in when you guys stepped in, I mean, there's no way of knowing, but if you guys had not stepped in when you guys did, is there any chance that the situation could have escalated?
Yes. Now, I don't know what that would have looked like. It's hard to speculate. We have all sat around throughout the day trying to like rack our brains really and figure out what the motive was. I don't know. But I know that we had the people in place to make sure it didn't get any worse, and we were able to keep everybody safe. And I know it was alarming for the individuals that were on that parade route that saw, I think our armored cars here somewhere, saw that thing roll in and a bunch of SWAT guys jump out. We're not there to scare anybody, we're there to protect them. But that was a real call for them.
How did that takedown go down, though? Was it right in front of everybody?
It was. So the route's about 2 miles long. The route is about 2 miles long, and there was individuals, quite a few actually, where he was taken down. It started with one of our majors walking up and just trying to make contact, but he started getting antsy and started trying to pull away, and so there was a little bit of a tussle, and a Stuart police officer jumped in, and of course by that time people were on the radio saying something was wrong, and more people showed up.
One last question for you is, like we said, we don't know his intent, right? It could
Right.
have been nothing at all.
Could be.
But is it concerning that you have somebody under the influence in a crowd with children all around you carrying a gun with a bullet chamber?
Yes, I can't use enough adjectives to tell you how concerning it is to us. And for the parents that were there, knowing that this individual walked at least a quarter of a mile behind us or behind the congressman last night. So yeah, it's extremely concerning. But again, we had the assets in place, we had people in place. We're not trying to scare people, but all those deputies, all those guys with long guns, the helicopter flying over. I know the Grinch was in it waving at people, but they were also scanning rooftops while they were waving at people last night. So all the assets we have out there are put there to keep them safe, and that's our goal this season.
Just to clarify, he was under influence or wasn't? Or you guys
We
don't
believe
know?
we were not able to blood test him, but the actions that he exemplified, his eyes, his language, talking to the relatives, we do believe that he's got a crystal methamphetamine habit. Yes.
How old is he? Were you not able to tell?
Early 20s. I don't know exactly, or I would tell you.
Well, he's a young man.
He's a young man, yes.
And he has family, kids?
He does. He has family. So we talked to his ex-girlfriend, we talked to his mom, and they did say that he's had some issues that he's been trying to work through.
Was he there alone?
He was
There
alone, yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, I think that's
Is
everything.
that it?
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Yes. If it was, I wouldn't tell you. I'm not going to give it up one way or the other.
All right.
I can't. We didn't arrest him, so I don't even think you guys.